we end the reign of the charmed ones.
My powers are gone. We're sitting ducks with no powers to fight back.
Hi guys, welcome
Hello.
back. Welcome back to the Po2 Podcast.
Hello.
Why are you saying hello?
Because
All you do is keep flopping your mouth and you're not saying anything.
Welcome back to the Po2 Podcast. I'm Amber,
and I'm Jay.
and this week we're going to be doing a review of the latest episode of the Charmed reboot, Hashing It Out.
Episode 10 of season 4, or should I say the final season?
This episode was sad.
I didn't think it was sad. I think it was more sloppy than sad.
Really?
It's gonna be so bad.
Yeah, let's just get into it. So, okay, I get what they were trying to do. This episode, essentially what happens is that Sunny and her unseen minions decide to raid the command center to get a hold of the Unity Bowl so they could raise the lost one, who I guess is the big bad of the season. So what ends up happening is that there's a showdown between them and the Charmed Ones. The Charmed Ones basically kill them all except for one, who makes off with the Book of Shadows, and Dev gets killed in the process by Sunny. A lot of people did not like that Dev was killed off. What did you think?
I've had enough. Gargle!
I didn't like the fact that they killed him off. Like, I'm not being funny or nothing, but of all the characters they've had on the show this season, I think Dev has been the most interesting. You know, at first I wasn't that keen on him because the way they introduced him, but he just became just such a lovable character. You know, he was funny, he had this unique power, and just this a unique way about him, and even like his little one-liner things he said. Like he made a joke about Michaela, who drew a she drew a door to get into through the protection barrier around safe space, and he made a joke about, you know, can she use that on a bank vault, which I thought was so funny because of course that's something that you would do, you know, if you have the power to do that. You know, why not make a magic door appear in a bank vault, even though I know that's not ethical. But it was funny. But I was so disappointed.
I'm not disappointed that they killed him off because I get it. You know, I actually knew from the start that he would be recurring because he already got a role on the Night Court reboot. So I knew he wasn't gonna be a regular. Did I know he was gonna get killed off? No, but I knew that he was temporary. So I knew that if they had done a season 5, he probably wouldn't be part of it. Maybe like an episode or something. But if he's Kayla's love interest, I didn't think that relationship was going to be long-term anyway. Also, because Kayla is bisexual, I knew that they were going to pair her with a girl eventually. And that's exactly what Joey tweeted on Twitter. He said that the whole idea was to have Dev be the love interest for this season because his actor had limited availability. And then next season, they wanted her single so that she could have a girlfriend, so that they could explore bisexuality in season 5, which in itself is not depicted often on TV. So a lot of people were happy, you know, about that part, but I just don't like how they went about killing off Dev. I think that it was sloppy. It was very rushed, anticlimactic. Everything about this episode seemed anticlimactic. I think we both agree that we did not care for this episode.
And it was like, for me, it was like, again, it was one of those things that happens off screen.
Mhm.
We saw, you know, we heard this Dev scream, and then Kayla came out and found him on the floor, and he was covered in scratch marks. And that was it. And I was just like, what the fuck is she doing? I was seeing her like crying. I'm just like,
It would have
Oh,
been nice. It would have been nice if he had like if he was gonna die, if he was gonna die, I would have preferred that he went out swinging. Like, you know, if they showed a fight scene, maybe him putting himself in front of Kayla, maybe saving one of the sisters, something. You know, I just didn't like that it was off screen and you hear like this, you know, ridiculous blood curdling scream like in an old horror movie and or an old horror movie and you just yeah, it's like it's off screen. It just feels rushed. Like he's, you know, random person number three and not the love interest of a charmed one. It just did not feel right.
no, it didn't. And I think what annoyed me is that she didn't call for Jordan. She know, you know, Jordan was literally downstairs and she was just stood there. And I know that Sonny was there or whatever, but I was just like, why aren't you calling for the healer? You know, it was just like
Yeah, they
it just
just
didn't.
accepted that he was dead and moved on. Like I
I
mean, I know
know.
Kayla was sad. I know that she processed it and you know, they showed her upset and processing it, but like you most people wouldn't give up. Like if you saw your loved one bloody on the floor, you wouldn't just be like, oh, they're dead, you know, nothing I can do. That's not how that's not how people work. They try CPR, chest compressions, they do something.
Exactly.
I mean, she
Exactly.
could have manifested, like, you know, with her power of manifestation, she could have like tried manifesting some life-saving procedure, like maybe, I don't know, a first aid kit, you know, something, even if it was a little ridiculous, like at least something to show, like for example, if they had showed that his neck was bleeding out, they could have had her manifest bandages or something, or you know what I mean? Like something to like show that she's using her powers, that she's trying, but it just showed her kind of just accepting that he's dead and then mourning immediately.
Mm. Um, and the episode started off with Mel and Ruby getting together, which is another thing that happened off screen.
No, it was Mel and Roxy.
Oh, Mel and Roxy. Sorry, I get their names confused. Mel and Roxy, you know, they got together off screen. And it was just like really.
Yeah, too much is happening off screen. I feel
Yeah,
like
but
they're showing things that we don't really care about, and they're all the things that we want to see. They're doing it off screen or in between episodes.
they did that in season three. They did that in season two. They had a lot of the action was going on off scenes. Like, you know, they would say that the girls were going off and fighting demons, or you know, when they had the storyline in season three with the for the chaos, the tomb of chaos, the monsters.
Yeah.
Macy was going off with Harry and fighting those monsters, and we literally hardly ever got to see any of them. But if you looked in the background, there was a blackboard with all the different monsters they'd faced.
Yeah.
And it was another thing that I would have loved to have seen that's what I would have loved to seen, but we didn't get it. So
Yeah, this
and
show was a lot of tell, but not enough showing.
and I also felt like with Ruby and Mel, it just feels like you said in a previous episode, they've just given her another girlfriend. You know, you said that you just wish that they'd stop giving her
No,
a
I
girlfriend.
know. Like we have such limited time, and I know that the writers went into this thinking. I really do think that they went into this thinking they were getting a season five, but the pacing this season is just a mess. And I hate to say this because the season started out so good. I would say that the first eight or so episodes were really really good, and then I feel like the rest of it is kind of being rushed. And I honestly think they're leaving too much for the potential season five they thought they would have. So I'm not holding my breath that this season's gonna end with this, you know, good resolution that would satisfy people. I think it's gonna be really open-ended. Because they're giving way too much focus to characters that frankly I don't really care about. Um, Mel already has had, I think, five love interests between Nico and Jade, between Nico and Jada and Katrina, Ruby, and now Roxy. It's just too, because this episode, like this season, we've already had an episode focused on Ruby, which is fine because the whole demonic stepdad thing, you know, it was refreshing to see a demon for once this season. But now we have this episode that's mostly centered around Roxy. And we already knew Roxy's deal with Camellia. Like, we already knew that she has to hibernate for 7 years. We already know that Camellia is dead or not in the picture anymore. We did learn that Camellia is alive and basically broke up with her because she couldn't handle being alone. And that's sad and all, but we did not need that. This is the Charmed One show. This is about Charmed. We don't need episodes dedicated to recurring characters when there's too much about the when there's too much about the main characters we're not seeing.
Yeah, I mean, that was another thing that I really didn't like about this episode. They spent too much time focusing on Roxy and what she was doing and what's going on with her and on all this with Camellia. I don't care. I don't care about Roxy. I don't care about Camellia. I watched the show for the Charmed ones and a little bit of Harry and maybe a little bit of Jordan and, you know, their magical world. I don't care about those other characters. And she doesn't interest me. And if they'd have given her, like, say, like 5 minutes of the episode, I'd have been all right with it. But they spent too long on her storyline.
Yeah, I felt like at least half, if not a third, was dedicated to the whole Roxy thing. And that's another thing. It was mostly Harry's subplot with Roxy. I understand focusing on side characters, but they have to be it has to be relative to the main characters. I know that Rupert Evans is a starring actor, and I know that Harry is a main character, but one of the mistakes of this series is that he has way too much screen time and story time for his character when it should always be the main 3 Charmed ones, and everything else should be it should all revolve around them. There should never be a side plot or subplot. Like, the White Lighter should never have his own subplot.
He had his own bloody show in season 2.
Yeah, it was the White Lighter show in season 2 and 3. And I understand, I get it. Rupert Evans is one of the show stars and he deserves screen time. I get it. But because of that, the focus is already split off the Charmed one as it's already split off of the Charmed ones as it is. So we don't have time for side characters, especially side characters that we already know they're probably not going to last very long. Because let's be honest, if season 5 happens, which, I mean, it's probably not now.
No.
Yeah, like, likely not going to happen. But let's say it does get saved and it comes back. I don't think Roxy's going to be a mainstay.
No, she's not. She'll probably get like some like random exit. And I would have loved them to have used that time, to spend that time on maybe just developing Dev a little bit more, even though I know they killed him off. Because he was just more interesting.
Is that for sure his last episode? Because with Harry's necrolyting powers, there's a chance that she could say goodbye. There's a chance that Kayla could say goodbye to him in the Vale, or did they confirm that he's gone for good?
I think they did confirm that he's gone. I think it's because Kapil has another job somewhere else.
Right.
But I mean, it would be nice if he goes into the Vale, but I don't know.
I do want to say real quick that what I like about Dev's character, and you could probably edit this sooner. What I do like about Dev's character is that he reminds me of Lorne from Angel. They're very similar. They use music and singing as a way to use their powers and tap in. And they also have like their one-liners and their little comedic scenes. Just wanted to throw that in there. I mean, I like that they made his character very unique and something you don't see too often.
Mm.
And also being true to, offering diversity when there hardly isn't. There's not a lot of brown POCs on TV. So to give him not only a juicy role, but give him importance to the storyline, make him a love interest. That's very seldomly put on TV. So I do appreciate his character in that way. Plus, he is a good actor. I highly recommend checking out Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist and to watch him on the Night Court reboot.
So the I guess the other plot, or I would say the main plot, why it's not really the main plot, but the unseen take over the command center. It was weird to me how that woman got hold of one of those marbles. She said that she got it from a witch that went through witness protection. But I was just thinking to myself, well, do all witches end up in the command center then?
I
Because
have
that
no idea.
because that marble took them straight to the command center. And I just thought, well, that's odd
That's
because
what Kayla got, right? In the pilot, in the premiere.
yeah, if you haven't got that certain blood or something, it will trap you in the marble. Because no, not Mel, Maggie. Oh shit, I can't remember. Maggie and Macy got trapped in the marble before, so they end up using this blood from a witch, I guess the blood from a charmed one or something, I don't know. And that's how they get into the command center. And I was just like, I thought, okay, this is good. This is really good. Because I wanted the show to heat up. It felt a bit blah to me. And we basically got to see them kind of go on a rampage. And Maggie got to kick some butt, which I enjoyed. What did you think of all that?
I just don't really get it. I don't get why there's all these people that are so pissed off with the charm ones. Like, what? I just feel like the whole unseen movement is a little bit ridiculous, and I just don't understand what exactly the charmed ones did. When they talk about it, it sounds like the charmed ones like either did not show up in time or were busy with other things. So some people got killed, but I just don't understand, how does that justify trying to kill them?
No, it doesn't. And it's weird because it's kind of like saying, well, you know what, this crime happened to me. And because you weren't, say a police officer, this crime happened to me. And because the police weren't in the area, it's their fault.
Yeah, now I'm gonna go bomb a police station. Like, that's what this feels like, and I just don't understand. Also, I don't really get how magical creatures are depicted, because on one end you see them as like these like actual creatures that have like their unique life cycles and quirks, but then all the a lot of the time they're just depicted as like ordinary people with like, I don't know, like demonic feet or like weird, physical features that they hide or blend in, and then they have regular jobs and regular homes, and they just, I don't know, I just don't get it. I'm not feeling this whole unseen plot. I think that it's really weakly developed. I think it's not developed well.
I just, yeah, carry on.
I just feel like I feel like they're going for this whole political vibe and trying to make a commentary on trolls and hatred, how certain groups are politicized. And I honestly am getting a bit of BLM movement here. I'm getting a lot of recent things that happen in the news that are just being translated in a magical way. And I don't know if I like it. It's too on the nose. I also don't like how at the end of this episode, the charmed ones were forced to kill all these people.
Well, I mean, I agree with what you said about like how they look. I mean, physically, a lot of them just look like normal people. Like here's like this guy who like middle-aged dude, after this like young girl and this bloke. And I just think to myself, couldn't they have done something to make them look a little bit more magical? Like maybe not necessarily like give them like, I don't know, effects or something, because I know that they're sorry, or maybe not give them effects or something because I know that they've got a limited budget, but they could have done something like maybe like wardrobe related, or they could have given them contacts or something, just something to make them look different. Because I feel like the only one that really stood out to me was the woman that had the bright blue hair, and she was like she like shot some dart into Maggie and Mel's necks and managed to
Yeah,
block their powers.
to block their powers, right?
But yeah, just like the way that middle-aged guy, I don't even know his name, the way he was like, "Oh, it's your responsibility." I was
Yeah,
like,
but yeah, even that whole scene, like there's rarely any interaction where they explain why they're even pissed off. And when I hear them try to explain it, it just feels like ridiculous. And it's like what you said, it's like blaming the charmed ones for something that they really had nothing to do with. Like I get that they're angry, but it just makes zero sense to like blindly follow this woman who wants to raise some old creature or being, promising that things are going to change. I mean, that's really cult-like. So it just boggles my mind that these people, who have apparently normal jobs, normal homes, everyday lives or whatever, blend in society, that they just spend all day hanging out at the Blue Camellia, and then when they're not there, they're just being hypnotized by their little magical cell phones, watching these videos by the tally man, and then getting like brainwashed into following Sunny enough to die for her. I just don't get it. It's just, I think that if they did it in a different way, it would have worked. But honestly, this whole arc with the unseen, it reminds me of season 8 when Billy and Christy got the magical community on their side for an episode and got them to turn against the charmed ones. And even that was really stupid and ridiculous and forced, but at least it only lasted one episode.
yeah,
This is the whole season or half the season.
yeah, but at least you could tell that they were part of the magical community.
Yes.
They had fairies there, they had leprechauns, they had wood nymphs, they had all that, and trolls and all that. They had those there, and you could see that they were magical people. But these people, they just look like regular Joes. So there's nothing like
Right.
that interesting about them. The one thing I did like about this episode is I like the fact that Sunny died, because when Michaela found Dev dead, she used her power. Basically, she just drew on the glass.
With Dev's blood.
Yeah, she drew like a line, and that kind of translated to her tattoo and like took off each one of her lives. But and I thought that was an interesting thing to do. I enjoyed that, but the way she died, no. It was anticlimactic. I wanted more. I wanted her to scream. I wanted her to like blow up or just shrivel up or disappear or something. She just collapsed on the floor, and I was like, is that it?
No, I know. I like I said, this everything, like the tally man was killed off very, very easily, quickly. I mean, he offed himself basically, and then now Sunny's dead. All that's left now is this older bald dude who stole the book, and the rest of the unseen biker gang or whatever the hell they are. Yeah, that's what they look like. They look like a biker gang or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, all that's left is that, like, what they're going to do with the book and them potentially raising the lost one.
And so they got the Book of Shadows. At the end of the episode, it revealed that they had the book. And I was just like, well, first of all, where did they get the book from? Because when the episode prior, it was in the command center on the stand.
Yeah.
But this episode, they didn't even show it, so they didn't know where it was.
I think I
And I,
think I think what happened, the only best way to explain it is that even though we didn't see it in the command center, it had to be there somewhere for them to just, take it.
mm, but I missed that. I wanted to see them be like, oh my God, the Book of Shadows is back and do more with it. And I feel like we haven't had that. We haven't had like an impactful scene. I'm grateful that it's back and it's playing a role in the show again. But the way that they brought it back, the way that they're using it, just doesn't feel like good to me.
Yeah, I would have loved it if like those guys who stole it at the end, I would have loved it if they like opened it up and it was like, oh my God, look at all we can do with this. Like, show some excitement, even if
Mm,
it's like making fun of the fans a little bit. But it's like, I would have loved if they had done that, like showed the book, showed like how impressive it is that they even got it. Something, because that, in the original show, the Book of Shadows was so coveted that so many demons tried stealing it.
yeah, and I remember they actually had a plot where a warlock stole the book, and he literally did the same thing that you just said. He went through the book and he was like, there's spells for everything. Oh, that was the Stillman sisters, right? but
No,
but
but no, there was other ones. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure that, yeah.
Baraka was the one that stole the book first, and he was the one that, well, not the first one, but he was the one that was like, yeah, he was like going through the book and like talking about how good it was. And then the Stillman sisters did the same thing when they stole it. So it was like
They looked themselves up. That's what they did.
yeah, I wanted to see that. I wanted to see a little bit more of that. It was just like, oh, we've got this book or whatever, and it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah.
I don't know. It's just there's this whole reboot, it's always been a case of I liked it, but I wish they did further with something. And I don't know. I mean, we're actually going to well, let's wrap up. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No. So what would you rate this episode?
I would give it a 5 out of 10.
Okay.
Sloppy.
Um,
It was just very sloppy and unrelatable,
um,
unrealistic.
I would give it a 2.5.
I would
And the reason that
I would only give it a 5 out of 10 because I did like the scenes with Dev and Kayla. I did feel for Kayla. Lucy did a really good job, especially at the end when when she found the gift that he gave her, the enchanted teacup thing, the tea kettle. So when the water was done boiling, the steam would come out as his singing voice and he would be singing her name. That was really, really sad. And I actually I think Lucy did a good job when, Kayla broke down hearing his singing voice.
well, it did kind of, you know what, it was a good acting, but it did kind of remind me of that scene that I sometimes put in the podcast of Billy on the floor crying in Forever Charmed. It was a bit like that.
Well, I feel like Kayla did it better. I feel like Lucy did a much better
Oh
job.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Whereas what's her face, the one who played Billy, she like just fell on her knees and was like
Oh my God. Yeah, true.
No,
Yeah.
I mean that's how you fall on your knees and cry, sister. That's what you do. That's how you do it.
Yeah, she was a lot better. So yeah, the reason that I'm giving this episode a 2.5 is because I wanted more. And like all the things that I've just said previously, I just feel like I didn't want Dev to die. And I feel like if they had to get rid of Dev, I would have liked them to have gotten rid of him in a less
You could have just done it in a more heroic way.
yeah, like just do it in a way that's heroic. Like do something that if it has to be, have him like get in the way of like an energy ball, like kind of what Andy did when he died, like on the original show. like have him do something heroic, saving the day. It was just like, I guess he was trying to do a good thing, but we didn't even get to see it, and it just didn't impact me. And I would have rather they not killed him off at all, because I really liked his character. But I know the actor had different things, but I thought, well, why couldn't they have come up with a better way? Also, we did leave out the bit with Harry's subplot and the VHS center.
I think we can get into that next time if they do build upon that character that we saw played by Natasha Henstridge.
Yeah, the mum off Secret Circle.
Yep, who played Faye's mom on Secret Circle and was the Species alien chick in the Species movies. She plays this this mysterious character who claims to be a white lighter trapped in the veil. So I figured we could talk about that if that comes into play in a future episode. We do have 3 left, so probably we'll see her again.
Yeah. And these episodes, I have said this on Twitter, but for those of you that are wondering, we're going to upload these videos now at our own pace, because we have like just busy lives and things, and it's just more convenient for me to like do it like rather than doing it every week, every Wednesday.
Yeah.
We'll try to post them like frequently. But we're going to finish the season off not so tight, if that makes sense, like on not such a tight schedule.
There's really no point anymore to be current, and even the showrunners tweeted us that it's fine that we take our time. I mean, I think they're still processing the cancellation. I mean, if there was going to be a season 5, we would be up to date with everything and trying to push the show as much as we can, but at this point, I think it's, clear that it's not coming back and it's over and done with. Even the showrunners seem to have that doom and gloom mentality. So the best we can do is just enjoy what we have, and then, look forward to whatever revival or reboot comes along in the future, because they're going to reboot it again.
Oh, yeah. Maybe not immediately, but like 10, 20 years.
I give it like 5-10 years.
Oh, really?
Yep. All right. Well, follow us on Twitter, the Po2_podcast, and follow us on Facebook. We have a page called Charmed News where we post everything about the reboot and the original show.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.